Namaste, good afternoon, everyone. My name is 𝐏𝐬𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒐 and I'm the founder and CEO of Kangaroo Education Foundation. So today we have come up with the live session to discuss taxation because this is the time of tax return. Every year in Australia, the financial year ends in the June end. So everyone is rushing towards the tax return and the complexity associated with it. So we thought of having a live session with an expert who can actually explain how the tax system in Australia works and how you can claim the tax return in a way that you can get the maximum tax refund. So I have got few expert guests and my colleagues with me today in this live session. I'd like to introduce my guest first. I have Mr. Dipendra Panta with me. He's the chartered accountant from Nepal as well as CPA from Australia. So he's the registered tax agent in Australia at the moment. So Dipendra ji, I want to welcome you in the show.
Namaskar, Mercy. Thank you for your invitation and giving me opportunity to talk about tax information session for this 2021.
All right. So we also have a few colleagues from Kangaroo Education Sydney office and Adelaide office with me in this session. I have Prabhat Badal from Adelaide office. I'd like to welcome Prabhat as well.
Hello and namaste, and thank you so much for inviting me in this session.
All right. So we also have an ever-smiling guy, Prakash from Sydney office. Welcome, Prakash. Okay, all right. So probably the mic of Prakash is off. He will turn it on later on. So we'll be starting with a few questions regarding the Australian tax system. But before that, I'd like to play a short video which explains in very brief what is, Australian tax system is all about. So may I request the technical team to play the video?
The Australian tax system works by charging a higher rate of tax to people who earn more. The Australian Tax Office, or ATO, is responsible for ensuring individuals and companies lodge their tax return each year. Each person lodges their own tax return with the ATO for the year ending June 30th. You can lodge your tax return through a registered tax agent or by going online. Individuals and sole traders pay more income tax as they earn more. The amount of tax you pay is based on your taxable income. Taxable income is calculated by subtracting allowable tax deductions from your assessable income. For example, Jenny earns $100,000 in assessable income, which includes her salary and some bank interest from her savings account. She has $20,000 in tax deductions this year, so Jenny's taxable income is $80,000. Frank earns $60,000 in assessable income and has $5,000 in allowable tax deductions. His taxable income, therefore, is $55,000. Frank would pay less income tax than Jenny because his taxable income is lower. Companies pay tax at a flat rate and can also claim tax deductions. For example, construction company Proprietary Limited earns $2 million in profit this year. It must pay tax at a flat rate of 30%. If the company's profits fall to $1 million next year, it will still pay 30% in tax on all of its profits. This is different to individuals who pay a greater percentage of tax the more they earn. Another type of tax many people have is capital gains tax. Capital gains tax is paid on long-term investments or assets which are sold at a profit. For example, Frank buys some shares for $5,000 and sells them for $7,000 in 2 months. He makes a $2,000 capital gain. This $2,000 gain is added to his yearly tax bill. For most Australians, capital gains is not paid on the family home. The Medicare levy is also paid by Australian residents. In addition to the levy, people who have private health insurance for the entire tax year may be able to avoid paying another tax known as the Medicare levy surcharge. The Australian tax system can appear complicated since it also includes offsets, levies, and different rates of tax for non-residents, companies and super funds. Therefore, it may be best to speak to a registered tax agent when you are completing your yearly tax return.
All right, so this was just an overview of what Australian taxation system is all about. So I have a question to 𝐷ipendra at first. So let us understand the basic concept of tax return first. What is tax return and why is it so important?
Basically, the tax return is all about the how much you have to pay to ATO, like after deducting all your deductions in a year. So in Australia, is like the financial year like closed on the 30th June 2021. Like 30 June is the closing of financial year. So always the individual who have earned their income from the 1st of July 2021, so 2020 to 30th June 2021, they have to calculate total income, how much they have earned, and then less deductions. So the taxable amount is on which we have to pay the tax. So for the tax return is all about the direct tax, like how much amount we have to pay to ATO.
All right. So what is the time for the tax filing? I understand it's after the financial year end of every year, but what is the time frame that you have to file your taxes by?
The time frame is like for individuals, the end of October is the last date for the lodgement of the tax returns. Basically, this deadline is only for if they lodge themselves. If this has been lost by the registered tax agent, normally it has to be extended, and normally it will be goes to 15th of May 2022. So we get a lot of time if the client goes up for the registered tax agent.
All right. So tax return is very important, and I think it's important to use the tax agent for the tax return so that you get the professional advice and the support as well.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'd like to ask our viewers who are watching us through Kangaroo Education Foundation and Education and Visa Services page Sydney and from Adelaide, and also in our YouTube page. If you have any question regarding the tax return, you can just comment, and then we'll take the question and ask to 𝐷ipendra about that. I have another question. So I come across some of the students who ask me, what happens if I don't lodge the tax return?
Actually, like if you don't lodge your tax return on time, the ATO has given some sections like failure to lodge tax returns is an offence, under Section 8C of the Taxation Administration Act 1953, and you have to pay the ATO debt on time. So normally, like if you don't lodge your tax return on time, there is a lodgement penalty. So you have to pay lodgement. But sometimes if you have some genuine reason and not able to lodge the on time, then that can be waived by talking with the ATO.
Okay, all right. So it's very important to lodge the taxation on time so that you get rid of the fine and penalties, of course. So we have a saying about the tax. There are two inevitable things in our life. One is tax and the another one is death. So we cannot get rid of the tax and death, of course. So it's always better to have the taxation submitted on time. Before I move on to my other colleagues to ask the question, I have the final question from my part before I switch to my colleagues for the questions. People always ask, I mean, we discussed it briefly, but people always ask, is it good to file the tax return by themselves, or they have to use, I mean, they have to compulsorily use the tax agent? What do you say, 𝐷ipendra?
Actually, there is no compulsory to use the registered tax agent. Even the individuals can do their tax return themselves by using the �ＭyGov services. So they can log into �ＭyGov services and then they can do their tax return themselves. The main reason for opting the tax agent is there is some advantage, for them if they do themselves, then maybe they will stuck with some questions and then some deductions, some questions, and then they will save time if they go to tax agent. And also there are some if they do some mistakes, they don't know who is doing, even the registered tax doing or the personal individual is doing. So if there anything is coming, then ATO comes to knock your door. So then there will be stress. So we suggest people to do by registered tax agents. And also the last one is also if the person is doing themselves, the last date is for 31st October. But if they do after 31st October as well, like the deadline will be extended to next year's May. So they can do their payments, like if they are refund, obviously people will do before. But if there is payables, ATO payables, they can be deferred by almost 10 months. So that is also like benefit for individuals.
Okay, all right. So there's a benefit of using the tax agent for the tax return, of course. And Kangaroo Education Foundation, in association with 𝐵𝒂𝒂, we are also offering the tax return service to our clients. And we are offering it in a very nominal cost, actually. It's only $35, I suppose. So it's a time that you come to our Kangaroo office, and then you can just proceed for the tax returns. Now I'd like to move to Prabhat. Prabhat is based in Kangaroo, Adelaide, and I suppose the South Australia is not locked down now, so we are working from office. So I'd like to hand over to Prabhat to ask the further question. Over to you, Prabhat.
Yeah. Hello, Deependra sir. And hello to everyone. Whoever watching us live to our Facebook pages as well. Yeah, like Mahesh sir said, we are not in lockdown, so that's the like a very fruitful to us anyway. So being in Australia, Sydney and Melbourne are in lockdown at the moment, but we are quite safe at the moment. So we're still operating our services from our office. I would like to start with the common questions because we have been getting a lot of queries from students asking that. So we want to do the tax return from you, but just want to know how much tax will be how much will be the amount that we are getting. So because they have been to the different tax expert and they have been getting like a different kind of amount. So I just want to ask you, so why do the amount of tax return like varies according to the different tax expert?
Thank you, Prabhatji, for your question.
Yeah, so why tax return amount is different? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I got your question.
All right.
So you are asking why the amount is refund. Refund is different as per the different tax agents.
Yes.
So basically, see, the amount of tax refund is depends upon the how much expenses you are claiming, and I don't say it will be different as per the different agents, because this is not a like agents doing the deductions. The refund is depends upon the how much you are claiming the deductions, and normally see what happens. The tax agent, how much time he or she is giving to do your tax returns. Like is he or she is doing details and claiming all the expenses, individual expenses, then obviously they will get the more refund. And if the tax agent is just not going to all details and just claiming the minimum, available $300, then obviously they will receive the less refund. Basically, it's not about the tax agent; it's about the deductions.
All right, so we have to be very, very careful about the deduction as per he said. So not only claiming like a lot of amount for the deduction, so we have to get the right information from the right tax agent so that we will not be in trouble later on anyway. So I would like to move to the different questions anyway, because that question have been received from one of our students. What he was asking is he has an ABN, but he haven't received any income from the ABN yet. So does he still needs to declare it?
If any person has ABN and he or she hasn't received any taxable income under the ABN, then there is no requirement to report because there is no income and there is no taxable payments under ABN income. But if the same person has the income under the TSN, then obviously yes, he or she has to report to ATO, and then there should be like tax return should be there.
All right, so it's not the necessary to report to tax if he hasn't get any amount from his ABN in the last financial year. So the TFN is the mandatory thing, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, so I would like to move to the another question as well. So can we work under TFN and ABN both? So what could be the consequences?
Yeah, obviously, like we can work on the ABN and TFN both. There is no restrictions in point of view the ATO. Like, but like students for this session is really for students. So I would like to let the student know if they are working within that time hour like even as per the like immigration law, like say 20 hours per week. So there is no problem. For ATO point of view, there is no problem if they are working on the TFN and ABN, but they should maintain their allowed hours, working hours.
All right. Yeah, I have another question anyway. So that's the, I think, the most like common questions we have been getting at the moment. So what are the expenses that we can include without having a receipt? So that has been, asked by a lot of students. So they want to deduct like a lot of amount, but they're asking so how much amount they can, claim because they have been working at a different job or different kind of from the like a TFN and ABN. So what could be the amount they can deduct without having a receipt?
Basically, without receipt of your expenses, you can claim up to maximum like 300 worth of work related expenses. But even it's like not a free tax deductions. Like if the ATO comes for audit and then you have to show the receipt for that one as well. Also, the 300 doesn't apply for the donations. Like if you have given any gift, like you can give the gift without receipt for $10 only. But there are so receipt means like people says like their receipt should be from the invoice or receipt should be there. But sometimes if the payment hasn't made from the bank and the bank statement shows the descriptions, even that is also equivalent to receipt. So we can also consider that one as a receipt.
All right, so I think this answer is quite fruitful to all the students who were asking us this kind of questions before. I want to invite our another colleague from Sydney office anyway. So the Prakasa is there and he has a lot of questions. So I just want to ask him to ask more questions to Dipendra sir before I moved.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prabhat sir, and thank you, everyone. And hello to all watching us live. I have a quick question for Dipendra sir. The very first question that we all have, all the taxpayers in Australia have, is how can we get a maximum refund? That's the question I would ask myself, or I would ask to anyone who would refunding my tax. How do I get a maximum refund?
Thank you, Prakash, sir, for your question. Basically, to get the maximum tax refund, like you have to discuss all the your work related expenses to your agents. Like there may be various type of expenses you can claim because the person may not know about what kind of expenses he or she can claim, and it depends upon their nature of business as well. So, for example, travel expenses. Say if any person is like just working from office and he's just going office and then come back to home, then he or she may not be able to claim the travel expenses. But if any staff like who is as a marketing officer and he travel a lot to client places from the office as well, so that can be claimed as the expenses. So it depends upon the situation. And also I also ask people to keep the all receipt for all the expenses they have done because sometimes they pay from the cash and they don't have either payment from the bank or any receipt or any bills. So I also ask for the keep the receipt. Also now during this COVID time, like like people are working from home, so even we can claim the expenses for all the expenses you have made for the working from home. Like you bought a laptop, desktop, furniture, that can be also claimable. So you have to discuss all the details with your agents to maximize your refund.
All right. Thank you for your answer. That was quite a fruitful answer. I think that answers most of our question is how do I get the maximum refund? I do have another question for you, Dipendra sir. That is, I didn't do my tax last year. I didn't do anything with my tax. I didn't lose my tax. I forgot or I didn't care about it. Can I do it this year? The tax return, I didn't do it last year. Could you please answer that?
Yes, actually, you have to lodge your tax return every year. But if you are not able to lodge your tax return last year, then you must have to lodge this year.
So on that question, doesn't matter how much income I would have. Say I have $80 income or $5 income, I will still have to lodge it. Yes.
Actually, it depends upon your requirement of lodgement. Like if there is income and like there is no tax deductions, and if the income is below your tax threshold, then you don't have to lodge the tax return. Then even that case, you have to lodge the tax return as a nil. So because ATO doesn't know, like either you have any other income or no, because you have to report to ATO like, okay, this is my income, and I don't have more other income. So please lodge this as a nil income, nil returns.
Okay, so on that same question, I will add another question for the same question. So, for example, if I only have 10,000 income this year, I would still have to lodge the tax.
Actually, if you don't have any tax withheld on this 10,000 income, then you don't have to do your tax return because this is below than the threshold limit of 18,200. And basically, normally, say only if you have given few cases, so you don't have to do your tax return. For example, if you are like foreign residents and you are not earning any income than dividend, interest, and royalty, and all the tax is deducted on that income, then you don't have to do. And other cases, if you are on working holiday maker visa, like 417 or 462 visa holder, and their taxable income is less than 45,001, in that case also you will have to lodge tax return. So, except these two cases, you have to lodge the tax returns in all cases.
Okay, thank you, Deepesh, for answering most of my question. I do have a few more questions, but I will pass it to Prabhat sir for now, and we'll get back again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Deepesh sir. I have like quite a few questions. During this pandemic, a lot of students, they like thrown into maybe like a very fruitful like a Uber, and the menu log and all the kind of thing. So they have a lot of queries regarding those things. So what are the expenses that they can show, for the deductions if they are doing Uber Eats, Uber, Ola, or Menulog, or some kind of thing. So what could be the expenses they can claim when they are doing the tax return?
Thank you, Professor, for your questions. Basically, this is the very common income nowadays, like students having, like their income is from Uber Eats, Uber Drive, Ola, Menulog, lots of things. And I think they are a bit confused with the Uber Eats and Uber Drive as well regarding the GST registration as well. So I want to just add one more like answer this one. So basically, if they are doing the Uber Eats and they are just doing the delivery only, so they don't have to do their ABN under GST. But if they are doing the Uber Drive, obviously, then they must have to do the GST registration as well, their ABN. So in that case, they have to do the quarterly BAS as well. So with the extra tax compliance they have to fulfill. And so once all they have done the BAS, and then if they don't have to do the BAS for Uber Eats, then they have to include all the income in annual tax return. So in their annual tax return, they have to add all income, and then they can claim the expenses. So it's all about the work-related expenses. For example, if they are doing the like Uber Drive and they are hiring their car, they can claim their car on rent expense as well. And if they bought the car, and they can also claim the depreciation on their car as well, or maybe cycle, if they bought any cycle for that Uber or Menulog or Ola. Also, they can claim the fuel expenses. They can claim for all the mobile bill they have used for the business purpose, because sometimes they have to use their mobile for the navigation purpose. So that some portion can be claimed as the expenses. Also, the car reso, car insurance, car wash. So these are the common expenses they can claim for this Uber, Ola, and Menulog.
All right. So in regards to the same questions anyway, so do we require to provide any sort of receipt to claim the expenses, or?
Yeah, basically, receipt means they have to pay this all from their bank. So that also considered as a receipt. So they can show us the bank details, like these are the payments we have made from the bank, and then this can be claimed as the expenses.
All right. So we do not really require the receipt of the purchase. So if they can show the bank statement, spending that amount of money for the particular thing, then they can claim, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's good. So in the same similar questions anyway. So one of our client has asked, they have bought a car and it has been used for the work. So can they, like deduct whole amount, or they can, deduct like a partial amount for that?
Okay, thank you for the question. Basically, if the client has bought the car, and basically we have to see what the situation like. If the client is doing business like under APN, or he just earning the salary income under TFN only. So both cases the answer will be different. If the client has done a business and he is using the car for the business purpose, like Uber Drive, then obviously we can claim all the expenses related to the car, including the purchase of the car as well. But if that car is used for the his like home to office and office to home for TFN job, in that case he won't be able to claim that car. But if he is using the car for like one work to another work, and like during the client meeting he has used the car for office to the client meeting place, then we can claim the car expenses. And there are two options as well. Like one is for logbook method on which he can claim the expenses, and other is kilometer basis. Like we can claim up to maximum 5,000 kilometers in a year. So without maintaining any logbook. So this can be like different scenario.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So what I can request our client and students is, it is very important to get the right information from right tax agent. So it is very important to lodge tax of all of your business every year. So let's not, take risk and lodge yourself. So it's always better to go for like expert and get some information and lodge. So it doesn't take much time anyway. So we are here in Adelaide. So we are situated in level 668 Greenfield Street, and we are here for 9 to 5. Then we are always happy to help you out everything, and Deependra sir is there to lodge your tax return anyway. So I'm moving to the another questions anyway. So this is another most common question at the moment. We have seen tremendous amount of students, they have been involved in the share transaction and the cryptocurrency at the moment, and so that's the like extra income they wants to generate at the moment. So that's really good. So students are concentrating to the different kind of income as well. So the common questions is, what will happen if they have profit or losses in share and cryptocurrency? So does it really needs to show all the transaction, or they just can hide? So that's the common questions at the moment.
Thank you, sir, for this question. Actually, see, this income are like two types of income. One is the revenue income, other is the capital income. And this income from share or trade, share or cryptocurrency, they are normally capital gain, unless they are doing for trading purpose. And capital gain are not adjusted with our like revenue income, like salary income. They cannot be adjusted. So we have to pay tax on if there is capital gain. And if there is capital loss, then we can claim as a loss, but it will be deferred to next year. So maybe say for example there is loss of $1,000, then we can defer this to next year. And then if there is profit on like share or cryptocurrency next year, then we can claim that loss 1,000 and only pay on the net amount only. And also there is a one more thing I want to add this one. So it can be capital gain can be short term or long term. So if you are holding the share of cryptocurrency more than 1 year and selling that share of cryptocurrency, then that will be long term. And we can claim 50% reduction as a deduction as a long term capital gain. So we have to pay only 50% amount on tax only. So but if you are selling within like 1 year, then it will be 100% taxable.
All right. So can you just explain a little bit more? If they, if they have losses in the share transaction or the crypto, so how many years they can, this, carry forward these losses?
Okay. So there is no time limit for carry forward. Like we can carry forward for unlimited years.
All right. So they can continue for the unlimited years until they get a profit.
Yeah. For example, now they have loss of say 10,000, and they are, but it has to be adjusted with the only capital gain only. Say they sold their property say after 10 years, and then there is a profit on the sale of property. Even that can be adjusted with the property sale after 10 years.
All right. All right. So what could be the documents, what could be the proper document to provide you for the tax return for those transactions?
The required documents are basically we have to give us the basic information, personal information, including your TFN number, date of birth, and your income and expenses details. Actually, we have prepared one form. What are the information required for your tax returns, and which we have given to Kangaroo Education Foundation. You can get it from the Kangaroo Sydney and Kangaroo Adelaide as well. So you can get all the documents from there. The summary document is there.
All right, thank you so much. I might have another question. So before that, I just want to ask Prakash sir to continue his questions if they have any in Sydney.
Thank you, Professor, and hello, Dipendra sir again. I definitely have 2 more questions. The question is, once we lost the tax return, how long does it take to get the money back in the account? Very curious question. We all want to know when I'll get my money back. Could you please answer that question?
Once we lost our tax returns, basically normally the ATO says 7 to 10, 15 working days from the lodgement of tax return. But nowadays, like ATO is giving within 7 days.
Okay, thank
Unless
you.
there is no any issue, but if there are any issues in your tax return, obviously they will hold your tax return. That's the reason sometimes, like person claim too much expenses without receipt, and that can be the ATO is too much smart nowadays. Like they are not checking by individuals, the system is checking. So, for example, if you have any income from shares and you wanted to hide, you don't want to show that one, but ATO knows because you have already traded the shares, they knows. In that case, if you don't do tax return now and then lost, they will keep your tax return as a manual processing, and it will be like hold for your refund.
So in that question, so if I'm claiming too much expenses now to get more money, what if the ATO finds out that I have claimed too much? Will they fine me, or what will be the consequences?
In that case, they will obviously do the audit your tax returns, and they will ask for all the receipt for all the claims. And if you are not able to provide the receipt for that claims, obviously they will cancel this one, and then even they will make some extra penalty to you, giving the false information.
Good. If I want to do a tax return with my agent, for example, with you, sir, I can just give you my TFN number, or I have to give you a lot of documents? Is it hassle-free, or?
Basically, you have to give the basic information. TFN number is the one of the most important required information. Without that, we cannot do anything. TFN and their basic details. Once we get that one, then we'll ask for the summary of expenses they have done, and then based on that information, we'll do the tax return. Because it's so say for example, if they are saying, "Oh, I have income from shares or crypto, or income from Uber or Ola or something," then we'll ask some more questions. So for normal cases, we are just asking the simple questions, yes or no, and if based on that information, we will ask more questions.
That's right. So once you do my lodge, and once you receive certain amount, then you would ask me that your return is 500 per cash. Are you happy to process further? And then if I'm happy, then we'll go process further. Yeah.
So in that case, normally what we do, like once we receive all the information from you, then we'll process your the kind tax returns, student tax returns, and then we'll send the draft tax return to student for their review and confirmation. Like they have to review their bank details, they have to review their address, all the expenses claim, everything they will review. And if they are happy to process, then they will say, okay, please proceed with the lodgement, and then only we lodge to ATO.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, sir. I'll pass back to Prabhat again for more questions.
Hello again. I think we have asked a lot of questions anyway. So, in behalf of a student, if I'm watching live, so what can you suggest our students to start the tax return process? So what they have to do and how can they get started for the tax return for this year?
To students, like if you are watching this online from the YouTube or like Facebook live session, like I would like to all to go to the Kangaroo office, like either in Sydney or either in Adelaide, Either you can go to visit their office, or you can call to them. And once you receive documents from them, like what are the information required from you to fill up, and then give to them, including your photo ID. And once we receive the documents from Kangaroo, like we are associated with the Kangaroo for all the tax returns, so we are registered tax agent. Then we will process the tax return, and then we'll send to all the draft tax return to concerned staff, student. And the students review the details, and then once we confirm from the student, and then only we lodge. So this is the process we are following now, and then even we are trying to give the like 48 hours service. Like once we receive the documents from the Kangaroo, we will send the documents to draft tax return to student within 48 hours.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so on top of that, I just want to tell our students that we have office in Adelaide and Sydney. So if you are looking to lodge a tax return, definitely we are available 9 to 5 in office, and Sydney office they are doing virtually at the moment because of the lockdown. And our service fees is only $35. So we're just trying to help our students for like a one-stop solution anyway. So we are not only doing visa extension or visa services or enrollment services. Definitely we are doing the admissions to enrollment services plus migrations and everything. So we just want to add these tax services as well to give you more services in the same time. So we do have a registered tax agent like Deependra sir, so he's helping us. So thank you so much, Deependra sir, for helping us and helping our students to lodge our tax return in minimum cost. So we are here anytime. So if you have any questions or if you want to come to our office, we are available anytime. So thank you so much, Deependra sir. So that's all from my side today. So I would like to hand over to my sir.
Prabhat, yeah, thank you very much. I think we have few questions from our viewers as well. So maybe we can address those questions if we have any.
Yes.
Yeah, we can have it displayed here. So Asmita Nupane asks, what is your service fee for tax return? I think Prabhat already mentioned that, but still, can you answer this question?
Yes. So yeah, so our service fee is only $35. So that's for the like a normal tax return. So if you have multiple income and multiple transactions, like a say transaction or the Uber or Ola, so like 3 or 4, then it might increase a little bit more. But the normal, like if you have only one job or if you have normal income, that's only $35 at the moment.
Okay. Any other question we have?
I think Deependra sir has answered most of the questions.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, this session was quite explanatory and comprehensive. So I think most of our students, clients, they could get the answer from here, and they can even look at this video later on because we are broadcasting it live, but that's available in our Facebook pages and in YouTube channel as well. So you can have a look at it in your free time, and then you can ask your queries. You can have us, as your tax return partner. In the meantime, we also offer the enrollment services and the visa services as well. So you can rely on the experts that we have. We have a migration agent on board, Mr. Anidu Preti, who is based in Sydney office, and we have the tax agent, as you saw today, in our team as well. So I request everyone to avail our services for your enrollment, migration, and other support services needs. So with this, I'd like to thank everyone in this session who participated as the guest and moderator. And I also like to thank everyone who watched our session and got benefited through all the information that we provided. Thank you very much. I understand that there are a few cities which are under lockdown in Australia. So I wish you stay safe and stay healthy. I think we'll be getting over this pandemic quite soon, and then we'll be back to track again. Thank you very much, everyone. So we'd like to take a leave now. Thank you.
Thank you.